All right. There we are. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hold on a second. Let me kill the volume on my phone. Okay. Hold on. Let's check one thing here. Okay. All right. All right. I am back. Holy crap. Been a very long few days. Um, first of all, glad everybody is here. We're going to get into the video shortly. I have a few things that I want to talk about, kind of share with you guys. And I think it's important things, and I wanted to be clear on some things and like that as well. So just you know, it's funny. You can take. So well, let me do this first. Let me do this. I just want to remind everybody that this is a very very family friendly channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. And if you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people that you see lit up in blue are going to boot you out of here because we are not going to tolerate that. Okay, it's just not going to be tolerated. It's not necessary. So, uh, I was at a buddy of mine's bug out location last night. Becky and I were there and had a very nice time. And so left this morning. I I actually went to bed. Oh, hold on, a second. I gotta adjust myself here. My chair is not adjusting. Um, I actually went to bed fairly early because I was tired. And did you just hear what happened in Wisconsin? I did not, Diane. I did not hear anything about that. I have. I'll be honest with you. I got home. I took a shower and then I went to bed. I'm just, going on little to no sleep, to be honest with you. And so, I let's see what's going on there. Truck plows into a marching band during a parade. Oh, really? People are insane. It's very, very sad to me that that type of behavior. First of all, what kind of mindset would a person have to just want to hurt random people for absolutely no reason? I don't understand that at all. I do not understand that at all. To do something like that. So no, I had not heard that terrible thing. I'm sorry to hear that, but you know that's crazy. That is crazy. All right, so I want to address absolutely several things, but I was just basically I came home and I slept and trying to catch up, and I'm still tired. You can probably see the little bags under my eyes, but it'll probably be an early night for me tonight as well, trying to catch up. But SUV took out grandmother singing Christmas carols. Many casualties in 30 plus injured. Yeah, that's that. I'm going to tell you, it it's scary that in you look at events that happen all the time, and there's events happening all the time all around the country. To think that you have to be worried about some lunatic driving into the crowd or hurting people or shooting people or whatever the case may be, it's very, very sad. That you can't be safe just doing things that are, like that. It's very, very unfortunate, to be honest with you. But there are some very sick, twisted people out there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on. I want to adjust this a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right. So, I was going to tell you, I read all my comments. I always do because it's like you. I have a certain fan base. It's not fans that like to like try to pick and push and stuff like that. Well, the funny thing is with that, with them making negative comments and stuff like that. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer. You take the positive out of the negative, okay? And even though I remove their comments and I block them, I will use those comments as food for thought. And three men in the SUV is possible they were on drugs. Nobody knows yet. Well, that's a possible. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on, unfortunately. So hold on one second. I gotta adjust. Okay, that's what the problem was. All right, that's better. All right. So, um, I had talked in a, I don't know if it was the video that went up today or what it was, and I had been talking about. No, it was actually, I think it was the one I did, probably one up yesterday. I think it was about doing a group in West Virginia and that type of stuff. And so people were like, oh, the only reason he want, and I'm going to address this because I think that this is a very actually important question to address because it clears things up. Okay, so they were like, well, the only reason he wants people to come together once a month is so that they work for him and do the work for him on his property. So let's clarify that just a little bit so people understand. So I'm putting together a group in West Virginia. I've had people contact me and said, hey, I want to be part of your group in West Virginia. We've kind of laid out some details of what that would entail and stuff like that. Now, what I want you guys to understand, what I want you to understand is this: if you have a group of people and you're trying to develop a place not just for the person who owns the property, but for everybody in the group, so that when something happens, they have a place to go to, right? And if you don't have, and I want you to think about this, if you don't have a vested interest in that, number one, why would you be allowed to be part of it? The second part of that is every weekend, that third, let's say it was the third weekend of the month that we got together, every one of those weekends would not be, okay, we're working on this or we're working on that. In the beginning, probably quite a bit of that would be, but it would also be training. It would also be, and I know this is going to be a foreign concept for some people out here watching the channel, the coming together of brother and sisterhood of the group to make a stronger, cohesive group. So if, let's say, okay, my place, I know everybody that's going to be in a group, but everybody else doesn't know everybody. How are they ever going to meet, get together, and know who else is in the group if we don't come together, right? If we don't come together and work together, break bread together, sit around the fire and talk and all that type of stuff. I'm not telling people, okay, you're going to come down on a Friday and you're going to do 12 hours of work on Saturday, and you're going to do 12 hours of work on Sunday. That's ridiculous, okay? You have you have to have here's the other part of that, okay? If I'm asking you for one, and every time that weekend comes up, that one weekend, you have an excuse of why you can't be there. Why you, oh, I wish I could be there, but I got this going on or that going on. If you know ahead of time, 3 weeks ahead of time or 4 weeks realistically, that the third weekend of every month, that's the weekend we're going down to the bug out location to work together, to try to make the place better for everyone. So when SHTF does happen and we all come there, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's already been working together. We know who's committed to it. Also, what happens is when you know that somebody's not committed to it because they don't show up, they don't help, they don't want to break bread with everybody and build those bonds that you need to have in a cohesive group, why would you want that person in your group? Does that make sense, right? I know it's a foreign concept for some of the people out there, and I'm sure that the trolls will be hiding in mommy's basement, and they'll be just fine when that happens because they'll have mom bring them down a sandwich, and they can still try to go online and try to be negative to other people. So you know that's kind of part of it. The other part of it is, and I don't need to explain, but I want to explain. Okay, part of the thing is when you're making a commitment, talk is cheap, actions speak louder than words. So when you have somebody that says, yes, 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 I want to be part of your group, I want to be involved and I want to do something, that's great. But until they're showing up that third weekend of every month or whatever weekend that you decide it to be, okay, and they want to get to know the other group members. They want to be involved in, okay, what's the project that we need to work on to make this a better environment for everyone? See, and here's the weird thing. I know it's going to be a weird concept, okay? So let's say Joe and Jill, right, married couple, they want to have it as a bug out location, and they want to build a small, building, a 10 by 12 or a 12 by 14 or whatever the case may be, right? So that third weekend of the month when that comes, they come down there, the rest of the group members come down there, and we build them their place so that they have their bug out location. I know it's a weird concept, and that helps them, right? Oh my God, why would you do that, right? But you do it for the group. You build that bond, and that's really, really important. And again, you're going to weed out the talkers and the doers. I want doers. I want people that are going to have the same commitment as me, that are all in, that they want to work together for the greater good of the group, for our survival. And I want to have people I can count on. I know that's weird too. Heaven forbid. Why would you want somebody that you can count on? All right. Um, you know, yeah, camaraderie is important to the success of any group. Absolutely, Lori. And the best part about that is as you're coming together like that, if you find out that Steve over there, yeah, you know what, he's not fitting into the group, and he doesn't want to be a team player, and he doesn't show up on a regular basis, and he doesn't, interact with people and all that. You It's better to find that out now before SHTF happens than afterwards. Afterwards is not a good time to find out that that person's not a good fit for your group. You need to find that out ahead of time. Okay. So that was one of the aspects of it that I wanted to talk about. The other aspect that I wanted to talk about, the situation with my propane down there. Okay. Uh, I had the two propane tanks that were on the camper. And I will be honest with you, I just did not even think about it. We used a little bit of propane when Dennis and I were down there. And, you know, it is, I didn't think that those tanks were going to be empty. We used it the day before. Becky and I used it the day before because obviously it was getting colder. Wasn't even thinking about it. But I will tell you this was a really super valuable lesson, because I will tell you right now, it'll never, ever happen again. I will never be caught down with my pants down like that. Not having a space heater as a backup, that you can plug in a little space heater. So when you're running the generator, you got your power, you can plug it in. Now you got that extra heat that way as well. If you run out of propane, uh, you know, no propane meter, right? Exactly. So, you know, I didn't even think about it. Didn't even think about it. And it happens. You know what? I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. And to be honest with you, I haven't dealt with a camper itself realistically in about 7 years. When we first moved to the property, we had the camper that we started out in. And as soon as we could, we moved into the house. So I'm not a big person with doing camping all the time and doing all that type of stuff as far as a camper goes. So I screwed up. And here's the best part, it's a weird concept too. I can own it, and I can say, "Hey, I dropped the ball. It's 100% on me, because it is 100% on me." And with it happening at 10 o'clock at night, there was nowhere we could go anywhere close to go get them refilled or any of that type of stuff. But it is a valuable lesson, and the reason that I wanted to share it was because even me, uh, 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 somebody that is prepped out the wazoo. Now, here at home, I couldn't even tell you how many 20-pound propane tanks I have. And how hard would it have been to throw two of them in the back of the truck and bring them with me? Would have been easy. Didn't think about it. And these things are going to happen. So when these events happen now in life, when it's not life and death, we should take those. And the camper dealer didn't give you full tanks. I don't think so, John, to be honest with you, because I think they ran out pretty quickly. And I thought that we had enough, okay? But, you know, the, the problem, like I said, the problem is this was 100% my responsibility. I completely dropped the ball, so it's 100% on me. But the reason I wanted to share it with you guys is to show you people make mistakes. But the best part is, yeah, how dare you not be perfect? I know, it's crazy. But oh no, we had plenty of blankets and we were cocooned in and layers of clothes, and we definitely were okay that way. But when you wake up, and we slept off and on. I mean, it's not like a fitful sleep when it's that cold. And it was 36 degrees inside the camper. It was 26 degrees outside. So it was cold. I mean, it was definitely cold. But you need to take these type of lessons and you learn from them. And I think that that's hugely important. And again, with sharing it with you guys, I think it's important as well because none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. And, I had somebody say, I can't believe you didn't have backup propane tanks. I didn't even think about it because of the fact, and being transparent and being honest, I knew that Becky and I were only going to be there for 2 days. So I'm thinking, how much would we use in 2 days? Not much, right? Well, lesson learned. And so, but I will tell you right now, it will never happen again because what I will do in the future, I will make sure that I have at least two extra propane tanks ready to go, full there at all times, so that if that ever happened again, I'll switch them out. And then the next day when we get up, I would take them to the store and get them filled. That is, like I said, it is uncomfortable of a night as it was. And as much as it sucked, because it did suck, it was a valuable learning lesson. And anything that when you can take a positive out of a negative situation and learn from it, I think that that is a good thing. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. What do we got? 476 in the chat, guys. We got 201 thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I want to ask you to please do that. And thank you ahead of time for doing that. I do appreciate it. And it really does help with the algorithms as well. And so I thank you for that reason as well, because it really makes a difference. It pushes us up higher in the rankings. So thank you for that as well. Also, I like to see a lot of thumbs up. That's part of the game. No, I don't think they were leaking, GG. No, I don't think I had any issue with that. It's just, like I said, it was just, I don't, I can't say that the when we bought them that they weren't, filled up. They might have been, they might not have been. I don't know. So it went through it. Yeah, Becky won't let you forget next time, right? Exactly. Um, but again, it just those are good things. Ed, there's a recall going on for propane RV regulators leaking, just issued out in September. Ah, okay. Well, thank you, ADK man. I appreciate you letting me know that. Yeah, it's just I don't know what happened. I didn't smell any propane leak or anything like that. So did they fill them? I don't know. Um, Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were. Maybe it just burned through. When you're got that heat on, it's going to use a lot of propane for that. So that is it happens. Things are gonna the unforeseen is always going to happen, and the one thing you don't think about will be the thing that jumps up and bites you in the behind. But again, like I said, no, I didn't bring them home, Patty. I left them down there, and the reason why is I don't plan on going back down until the spring. And so, what I'll do in the spring when I go down, I'll take two propane tanks with me and hook up the new ones, and I will take those two tanks and I will fill them up. But what I also do plan on doing is getting with one of the propane companies down there and having a big tank put in. So then I don't have to worry about it, So that is the way I'm going to do that. So somebody had asked, like in the comments as well, they said, was the camper winterized? Yes, the camper was winterized. When we were there, when Dennis and I were there, and even when Becky and I were there, we didn't run any water in the camper, and that was because we were only going to be there for a couple days, and we did not use the toilets in the camper. Again, for the same reason, and because the camper's already winterized, I didn't want to, we're going to be there 2 days, so why run water through stuff and have any chance of any issues, moving forward. So, uh, you know, mistakes are best well learned. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? And the thing is, if you can take a situation where, it's just like with any kind of weather event that we've had, okay? There's really not a topic, John. I just, I'll be honest with you, I'm completely unprepared, and I knew I was going to be, but I wanted to come on and talk about different things and address like some comments and stuff like that. And again, I believe it's important to be transparent, and I think that's part of it. But like I said, I did want to talk more about, like I said, with a prepping group and stuff like that. Now, one of the things that I absolutely, I'm going to put this out here, and I think anybody that is going to have a group, that wants to do a group, you need to vet people. And how you vet people, one of the ways that you do that is you do a background check to make sure. Now, listen, if you got caught with a little bit of grass, whatever, a couple minor crimes, minor convictions, I don't give a crap about any of that type of stuff. What I want to see in a background check is I want to make sure you're not like a drug trafficker. I want to make sure you're not a child molester, because they're not going to come out and be forthright and say, "Hey, listen, you know, I used to touch kids all the time, but I've stopped. I've learned my lesson." Those people don't learn their lesson. So I would not want anybody like that in my group, especially if other group members had children. I want to make sure everybody is safe. So that's one of the things that I think is important when you're trying to put a cohesive group together, is being upfront and being on the same page. No, there's no cats in here right now. Max was in here with me earlier, but he ended up going outside. You know, yeah, embezzlement, thefts, exactly. You want to make sure that the people that you're going to have in your group are not going to be somebody you got to worry about down the road. And again, we all have a past. We've all done things. I don't care about minor things. And if you have a situation, if you want to sit down and try to explain it, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Uh, you got a DWI. A lot of people get a DWI. So I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I'm sorry, you must be an alcoholic because you got a DWI. No, it's called a mistake. We all make mistakes. So, I'm not one to sit in judgment of people in that aspect, but I also want to make sure that the people that are going to be in my group, that are going to be, they're, let me put it like this, they're trusting me to make the decisions of who that we should be letting in here, that they're going to be safe if they have children, that they're going to be okay around those children. So I think that any normal person would have no issue with them having a background check if you were forthright and tell me ahead of time, well, this is what you're going to find. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I have misdemeanor convictions on my record. I do. So, I'm not squeaky clean, never ever claimed to be squeaky clean, uh, you know. And I always, back in the past, I got in trouble because sometimes people need to have an attitude readjustment. And I was generally more than happy to help them get that attitude readjustment. And I got in trouble a few times because of that. So it happens. You know what I mean? So I'm not one to sit here and be like, well, you better not have anything on your record, or, we're going to have a problem. No, you know what I mean? So, yeah, moral of the story, if you spent the night on Ed's West Virginia property, bring your own propane tank. Well, like I said, it was a learning lesson, a lesson that shall not be repeated. It'll never happen again. But again, in a negative situation, we had to laugh about it at the time. It sucked, okay? But we laughed about it at the time. And I had said to Becky, I go, aren't you glad you came down? And she goes, oh my God. So, Ed, are you ready for Thanksgiving? And who is cooking the turkey and the pies? Okay, I have to tell you guys, Thanksgiving is my absolutely favorite holiday. In the two reasons that it's my favorite holiday. I love the meal with Thanksgiving, and I love the camaraderie and the family getting together and breaking bread and enjoying each other's company. And like I said, the food is fantastic. I love, and then I get to watch my Cowboys play too. That's part of it. So, uh, you know, Becky does the cooking because my mom could burn boiling water. And I'm not being mean to my mom, but that's just the truth. So, it's excuse me. But Becky is a fantastic cook, and so you know, yeah, the Cowboys lost today. I saw, but anyway, you know, Becky's a fantastic cook, so she'll be cooking the turkey and all that type of stuff, and that's a good thing. So we'll have a good meal, and we'll be fine, and it'll be a nice day, and it'll be a relaxing day. And I hope everybody, if you guys are traveling, if you're going anywhere, please be safe. I would definitely encourage you, please don't drink and drive. It's not worth it. It is not worth it at all. And so I would just encourage you to be smart and use your head. Oh, so you guys are talking about a kitty sighting. Well,
I must have just intuitively known.
you must have. So look at this stranger here, this young
I
lady.
figured that people haven't seen me for a little moment. Here I am.
There she is with little Miss Hella.
Hella.
Or
Stella.
Stella. Well, Hella's right here. Stella, yes.
I will do the holding because I'm wearing a light shirt.
Yeah, so me with a black shirt on, I would look like I was petting myself. She's a good kitty, though.
So chill.
She's made a very nice addition to the family. Very nice addition to the family.
My little baby.
So anyway, would you like to say anything, or?
I'm just coming in to say hi.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, because you've been a ways.
Oh, there's JJ throwing your link up for your Etsy shop, Heather.
Cool. I have an Etsy. I wasn't gonna pump that too much.
Right.
I don't want people to think I'm only coming in here for that.
Right. Now this cat is like so super relaxed.
Yeah, she's licking me.
She's a good cat.
Okay, just trouble.
All right. So the other thing, guys, I want to talk about as far as a group. There always has to be rules, ground rules. If you're going to somebody's property, everything needs to be put out there in black and white so that everybody has an understanding of what is expected, what is not expected.
Writer said expect a package. I will. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, well, very
Let me
nice.
get that out of the way before it disappeared.
Before it disappeared. No, that's fine. And
is there a cat more spoiled than Stella? All the other ones have to compete as well.
Right.
Okay, now continue.
Okay, so, but I when we were down in West Virginia, a gentleman that I had met at Pinball's Get Together down in Knoxville, Tennessee, who was also from West Virginia, he said he'd like to get together and talk. So he came, to the property, and we talked, and he's definitely somebody that I want to work with. Nice young man. He is married, has a child himself. And so, we had a great discussion. And so one of the things, and I have to put this together. I mean, it's like, this is super early stages of what I'm trying to do down there anyway. It's not going to get going amped up full speed until the spring. And then, it is 80K Man says, my group is mostly family. And there's nothing wrong with that either. There really isn't. If you can work together with your family, that's great. I know that, like, my family, I definitely want them, around me, and, so that I can keep them safe as well. I mean, that's a big part of my thing. But with having a group, there needs to be, so I'm going to explain a couple things. So you decide you want to do a group, right? And here's an important aspect of that. And so maybe you have some people that want to live on your retreat with you. Some of them want to have that as their bug out location and those type of things, which is great. Everybody that's coming down there that wants to be part of it needs to keep a certain amount of supplies on site. Okay. And here's a great example why. If you have a list, I give you a list and I say, okay, this is my expectation. You're going to have, this much food, this much water, this much medical supplies, this much ammo, whatever the case may be. Whatever your list is that you put together, that you expect, those people to have on site. So everybody has that minimum amount list for there. Now, if they want to have more than that, great. And the reason that you have that is because if people want to be part of that and then something happens, if you don't all have at least a minimum amount of things, you may end up getting resentment in the group, well, wait a minute, we contributed more. They haven't contributed as much. They didn't even get the minimum amount. Why should we be giving them some of our stuff? I mean, you're going to cause all kinds of resentment and issues with that. So if you have a minimum standard of what you think is an acceptable amount of supplies on site, then you don't have an issue because everybody's on the same even playing field. Now, if you decide, okay, I got Ed's list, Ed, several people have been pronounced Ed from the Christmas parade. Man, that's terrible to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. That's not good at all. That's terrible. Um, but with having that list, it makes it very clear so that, like I said, again, everybody's on an even playing field. With everybody getting together once a month, coming together either for training or working on whatever major project that we're working on. So, like in the spring, I'm going to give you a good example. In the spring, when I go down, the first projects that I'm going to be doing, the first two things that I'm going to focus on is getting my power going, which is going to include another battery room, obviously, getting up a solar rack, getting my solar panels on the rack, and dealing with that type of situation and getting everything set up so that we have regular, continuous power with no issues. So that's one of my number one priorities. The second one is getting the water squared away, cleaning out that spring, figuring out what kind of supply of water I'm going to get from that spring. We have the other spring as well, and getting some, big tanks in there so that we can, have water readily on hand. I will be setting up rain catchment systems off of everything as well because every drop of water that you can collect, I think, is a good thing. And so, those are things that I'm going to be working on right away. All right. So, let's say, okay, so I get down there and I'm down there for 2 weeks, and then, group members are going to come in on that the next weekend or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to be sitting around, sitting in a chair enjoying the sunshine. I have things to do. So I'm going to be very actively working on things. And when more hands come in, many hands make light work. Ever hear that saying? So if you have, your group members, and again, if you have sweat equity into a project, okay, you have that you're keeping supplies on site, that you're involved, that you're getting to know your fellow group members and stuff like that. That's how you build those bonds. That's how you build that family. That's how you can separate the wheat from the shaft, right? Because if you're not showing up and you're not getting supplies there, you're not really committed. If you're committed, you're going to be there. So do you think it's important to have just a battery room, or is batteries okay in a garage? The garage would be okay, and the only time the batteries would not be good in a garage, and this is just my opinion, would be if they're lead acid, because lead acid batteries, you need to have them to be able to be vented. And hey, Pamela, Ed, we have a couple of office building trailers we are getting rid of if you might want to rehab them. Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you. I will keep that in mind. If you could shoot me some pictures of what they look like and stuff, Pamela, I would appreciate that. Shoot them to my email. That would be great. I would appreciate that. So, uh, but what was I saying here? But like I said, working together is the most important thing, and you got to have people, finding out and like I said, you find out who's really committed and who's not committed. If you got a guy in the group that says, listen, I'm not just going to come down one weekend a month, I'm going to come down every other weekend. And here's the thing that I want you guys to remember: things come up, things happen, life happens. So maybe Charlie can't make it that third weekend of the month because there's some event that he has to go to. So he says, hey, Ed, listen, I can't come that weekend, but I could come this weekend. I know not a lot of other people are going to be there that weekend, but I can come that weekend. Oh, I'll go back to the lead acid, yes, in a second. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you for reminding me, John. Um, but anyway, so that's part of that as well. So you got to be flexible in that aspect. But going back to the batteries, lead acid batteries off gas. And having them in a garage without being it vented is not a good thing. Now, lithium ion, totally different. There's no off gassing with lithium ion batteries. So if those are the batteries that you want to keep in a garage, there's not going to be an issue with that. That's another reason why you don't keep lead acid batteries in your house. There's always going to be issues with that. So, and they freeze, right? And so that is something that, just so you, information for you guys so that you know. But yeah, so I hope that answers that question. It depends on what type of battery you're planning on keeping in the garage. Now, if it is a marine deep cycle battery, they should be fine. No issues with that either. Okay, but the lead acid are the ones that do the off gassing, and that can definitely cause some problems, and so you don't want to do that. So, I hope that answers that question. Guys, if you have any questions or comments actually that you want me to see, all cap lock so they stand out for me, please. And I do appreciate that. So please check your trailer hitch for stress fracture. If we haven't made a habit of checking, we would have lost our horses, trailer, and possibly our truck. Wow. Mary Hardick said that. That's very, very good advice. Oh, love your t-shirt. Yes, I actually got this, guys, and I'm going to stand up so you can see it better. All right. I got this T-shirt at the state fair in West Virginia when we were down there when we closed on the property earlier this year. And if you eat bean soup, there will be off gassing. Yeah, no, I'm gonna tell you what. I have plenty of off gassing no matter what I eat. So anyway, but Ed, will your solar rack in West Virginia be similar to the one in New York? Okay, so here's the difference that I will be doing in West Virginia. Be two different changes. So with the experience that I have now with everything, you're obviously going to tweak things and make things better. When I was building this solar rack, we went with a 2-inch pipe for the main pipes. So we got, I think there's five in our rack, five pipes. In hindsight, I should have went with the 4-inch pipe, but the reason that we went with the 2-inch pipe was obviously at the time because of cost. It was much more expensive to do the 4-inch pipe for your main truss, right? Uh, Huge mistake on my part. And like I said, again, you live and learn. So when I go to West Virginia, I will be using 4-inch pipe down there. So it's going to be more solid, more rigid, uh, and those type of things. The second thing that I will be doing, West Virginia tree removal update. I don't know yet, Diane. I did, when I was down there this time, did talk to a logging company, and and I will tell you that story as well in a second, which is kind of interesting. You'll get a kick out of it. So, but anyway, so I will definitely go with 4-inch pipe. What I've also decided, each rack that I make, I'm just going to go with 6 panels on each rack. The reason for that is before I put in Mom and Becky's trailer where I put it behind the solar panels, when the wind would come, that rack would be doing this. Okay. I mean, it was like unbelievably wobbly. So I don't want to have um, Ed bigger rack so you can expand. No, I will explain that too, John. So each rack that I make will hold 6 panels. So one 4-inch pole will go up. We'll build a rack. We'll put 6 panels on that rack. That's going to be 340-watt panels. So you're looking at 2,040 watts for 6 panels. When we make the next rack, we'll have a completely separate piping, the whole 9 yards, same exact thing. We'll do it, and we'll do as many of them as we need to do. So they're not going to be great big, you know, they won't be great big one giant rack that if you have an issue with your giant rack, it shuts everything down. If you have individual racks like that, a lot less chances for problems. And if you do have a problem with one string of panels, it doesn't affect the other ones. So that is the two things that I definitely am going to do different. The other thing that I'm going to do different this time is we had a concrete base in these ones out here, and because of the wind blowing the rack this way and that way, the piping all ended up having huge openings around them because of going back and forth. And so we had to realign everything, and then I concreted the crap out of all those pipes. So this time down there, what I will do from the very get go, when I set those pipes, they will be concreted in there, so they're never going to wobble, no matter how much the wind blows. They're not moving. So that is one of the things that is a definite reason, looking ahead, planning ahead, learning from what I did here, that I'm going to do different down there with the solar rack. Now, we'll have another battery room again. I like having the battery room right next to the solar panels, like I have here. You have a short run to your batteries, and then you can run your lines wherever you need them to go for your power lines from there. But your power coming from your solar panels into that battery room, into your batteries, you want that to be as small or as short as possible, because that way you have less issues. So what I may do, I'll give you an example. Let's say we decide we want to go crazy and have a huge system. We want to have, let's say, 8,000 watts. So that's four different racks, right? So what I would do is I would have a rack here, a rack here. In the center of that, put the battery room, and then have the next rack and the next rack. So that way, equal distance from the farthest points to that battery room. And that's kind of what we're going to do there. So what is a different price difference for the batteries, Cherokee Man? Okay, well, thank you, Cherokee Man 71. Thanks for asking it. Okay, so first of all, the other thing that I'm going to be doing different in West Virginia from no, there are no rust issues because it's galvanized, so there's no rust issues with the piping. It's just the sturdiness of the piping. So, um, who is the sponsor for the solar system? Batteries alone be 10,000 plus, roughly 15 to 20. Not actually, boss man. No, no, you're actually, batteries are expensive. Not gonna lie. Absolutely, batteries could easily, depending on how many you have, it. So I'm gonna break it down, and I'm gonna tell you what I have invested into my system for West Virginia right now to start with. Okay, this is not going to count the battery room that has to be built. This is not counting the rack itself, the piping, any of that type of stuff. The wiring from the from the panels back to the battery room. What I did is I'm going with a 48-volt system in West Virginia. And the reason I have a 24-volt system here in New York. And the reason I'm going from the 24-volt to the 48-volt, 48-volt system is much more efficient, and that's why you do it. You're looking for efficiency, okay? So that's the reason that I'm going with a 48-volt system in West Virginia. So that's one part of it. Now, the batteries for that are very expensive. You can easily pay, per battery about $2,700 per battery for a 48-volt system battery. What I did is I had I talked about this before. My electrician in my group for here, he sent me information. He said, "Listen, this guy rebuilds 48-volt batteries. You can get these 48-volt batteries for like $900 a piece." So what I did is I went to the site. He had two batteries. I bought both of his batteries. I already have them here. They're here in New York. Okay. So I paid, with shipping, it was about $2,100 plus tax for those batteries. So that was just the two batteries. Then I went out and I bought the charge controller inverter all in one system. That was $900. All right. I bought the solar panels. I bought six solar panels, six 340-watt solar panels. Total cost, they're about 145 a piece, I believe, brand new. And so it ended up being about $870. And then I had to pay for shipping. And that's another story. So we'll deal with that. I'll tell you guys that situation in a second. So the shipping was like $230. So you're talking about, again, about $1,100 total to get those batteries here. All right. Not batteries, I mean solar panels. Uh, then I bought two 50-foot 8 gauge wire that you need, the heavier duty wire. So I got that. That was like another $100 for that. And then I ended up getting a breaker, a 30 amp breaker, so that you can set that between your panels and your main box, so that if there's an issue, if there's a surge coming from the solar panels, the breaker's going to pop and it's not going to destroy your system. So that's an important aspect of it as well. Then I paid for a combiner box, which was not that expensive. So total investment to this point that I have for my system in West Virginia is a little over $4,000. Okay. Now I bought that now because again, we don't know what's going to happen moving forward. And also, by the spring, I'm sure it would be much more expensive. So that is why, I did that. Now, I still have to buy the pole. I still have to buy the condor to put the rack together, and the components for that, and, to be able to mount the solar panels on the rack, and then, build a battery room. So, there's still going to be some more expenses with that. But my initial investment will probably, let's say, under $6,000. Now, what do I have to do after that? Add more batteries, because that solar system that I'm going to have, those batteries are going to be topped off very quickly because of the location that I am in West Virginia. It is going to be sunshine all day long. So I want to make sure that I have, by the time winter comes next year, that I have enough of a battery bank that I don't have to worry about, oh my God, are we going to have enough power? And if we go, no sunshine for a few days or whatever the case may be, that we're going to be in the right situation for that. So that and as I do it, guys, when I build the system down there, I'm going to explain everything right along the way. I'm going to explain why we're doing what we're doing, how we're doing it, and so that if you want to copy it, and here's the other part too, if you want to copy the system that I'm going to put down there in West Virginia, I'm more than happy to share that information with anybody, and I am still getting my property logged. I am, so I will. Well, okay, so we're going to do first, we're going to do the egg count, because I know, yes, the egg count is coming. So we're going to do the egg count first, and we'll talk about the logging. I got a story to tell you with that, and then we'll continue on with some other stuff. So before we do that, though, I'm going to ask for another thumbs up if you have not shot one up here yet. I do appreciate that, and thank you for the support for doing that. We at 551 in the chat. We're at 366 on the thumbs up. So, my wife and I would like to go solar, but we have to take a loan first. Richard Ruckman. If you want, Richard, shoot me an email. Give me your number. I'll call you. I have no problem talking to you about it. I definitely like to give advice. Um, when it comes to solar, because if you try to go through a company, you're going to get screwed, to be honest with you. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So, but anyway, so do that. Shoot me an email, give me your number, and I'll give you a call. So anyway, yeah, if you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, please do so. So let's go ahead and we'll do the egg count, okay? So I'll give you guys a minute to get your guesses up here. Okay, if you had the same exact guess as Ranger 192, and I believe that was 192, Ranger 192 with three eggs, that's what we ended up with today. We had three eggs here today. So that's where we ended up. So, and the good news is no animals died when I was gone this time. So that's a good thing. It happens, uh, you know. So, but all right. So I got to tell you the story first because people are asking about the logging. I do. No, thick neck don't lay in the wintertime, Sonia. Thick neck takes a sabbatical in the winter. She is a fair weather layer. It must be just her breed because I talked to other people that have the Easter eggers as well. And they said when it's cold, they don't lay. So she, no, you know what? The ones that I have, they don't get broody. I would need to get a different breed that would get broody. I don't have a group of them that will get broody. So, But anyway, so we did the trees. Dennis and I went and did the trees, and I am, I still have to put the proposal together and stuff like that. But I said to myself, you know what? I have a logging company right down the road, local, right? Local logging company. So I go down to the logging company, and I talked to the first guy, and I said, hey, I got some, property. I'd like to have some trees logged. He goes, go talk to that guy. So I go talk to the next guy. The next guy says, okay, you see that guy in the truck over there? That's the guy you got to talk to. I said, okay. So I go up to the guy in the truck, and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, I have some property that I want to have logged." And he says, "Well, where are you at?" I said, "I'm right down the road here." And he's, swear to God, guys, "Oh, you're the guy that bought the property from so and so and so and so." And I said, "Yes." He says, "The one with the graveyard in it?" And I go, "Yep, that's mine." He says, "Oh yeah." He goes, I've baled hay in that field before." He goes, "I know exactly where you are." Very small community. Everybody knows everybody, which I think is cool. And so, if they give me a reasonable price for logging the property, I'm probably going to go with them because it keeps it local. And also, it keeps relations with your neighbors on good standings. And so, I'm going to see what they're going to offer. And I have, I got a couple phone calls to make, and we'll see what happens with that. But I have one of my neighbors that owns property right next to mine works for that logging company, so he's a guy that I need to speak with as well. So, but it just kind of shows you what a small world it is. Especially down there. Like I said, everybody knows everybody, and I think it's a good thing. Yeah, I have a graveyard on my property. The people that I bought the property from, they live in front of me, so they are up by the main road. I travel through part of their property to get back to mine. There's a graveyard there where they have some family members buried. Part of the contract when I bought the property was that they have the right to access to the graveyard and stuff like that. I have absolutely no issue with that. They never would have had to put that in writing. We did put it in writing. It just keeps everybody on an even playing field, which I think is awesome. And so that's why they have loved ones buried there. They will always have access to that. I would never not. No, it's not a Civil War graveyard. Nope, it's just that's where they have their loved ones buried, and so that's where they are. So, and that's like I said, that to me that's perfectly fine. I have no issue with that whatsoever, none whatsoever. So. Uh, Oh, so I have to tell you guys this. I hope you will appreciate this. So, as you come into my property, there is a road that is access to my property, and then you get to my property line, and then the road continues in for the upper meadow and then down into the lower meadow. So, me and Becky were talking, and she was like, "Well, you got to make a name for your road, And I'm like, yeah, that's true. We definitely got to figure out a name, and we got to figure out a name for what I'm going to call the property. You always have to have a name for your property. So she said to me, she goes, "I got it, Ed," and I go for the name for the road. I said, "Okay." She said, "PN1 Way." So it's an oxymoron because it's one way in. There's one way in, one way out. So PN1 and then way. And I just thought that I'm like, oh my God, that is awesome. So she actually um, ordered the sign already that will be coming, and it says PN1 way, and I will put that on a pole, and it will start at my property line, and that's what it will say, PN1 way. And I just it's fun, and I just think it's cool. And the fact that Becky came up with that, I was like, that is very, very cool. So, but so yes, we will have you know there's my mailbox is on the main road, and that has a different name and stuff like that, of course. But right at my property line, that's going to be the name, PN1 Way. So very fun. But and I'll come up for a name for the property. I have to put some thought into that, obviously, and I'm sure it will come to me, and we'll figure it out. And yeah, so that will be the name of my private drive, if you will. Uh, you know, so we'll see. But that was just fun. I just thought that was fun. But yeah, it's just I want you guys to understand something. And of course, the trolls are going to think whatever they're going to think. They're going to think that I'm just trying to get people to work on my property for free. I'll tell you the one comment which I thought was great. He said, "Well, of course he has to have other people come in here and do the work for him because all he knows how to do is split wood, stack wood, and move stone." Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate. At least they're acknowledging that I can do that. So thank you. Um, we all bring different skill sets to the table. If I have, like when Greg and I built the battery room, when Greg and I built the woodshed, Greg is a master carpenter. As an intelligent individual, I'm going to go, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. And so I'm going to let him lead and tell me, yeah, I'm paying for all the materials and everything like that. But you know what? If you got somebody that knows their crap, you let them. Okay, man, this is you. And what we did when we built both the woodshed and when we built the battery room, I said to him, "What do you think? How do you think we should do it? And you tell me what you want me to do, and I will do it." And that's how we did it. And we worked together great. And we worked together as a team, and that's what it's about. And even the chicken coop. When we built that. Now it was my design for the chicken coop, but he's the one that said, "Okay, yep, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll get this, we'll do that." I'm always see. I'm smart enough to think that I'm not so arrogant to say, "Well, I'm in charge and you have to do it my way." No way. That's just stupid. That's stupid. If you have somebody that has that skill and that knowledge, you defer to them because they have that knowledge. It's just like him and I were talking, and he said, "Well, when it comes to carpentry," he goes, "I know my crap." And I'm like, "Of course you do." He goes, "But if I have a nursing question or if I have a nursing issue," he goes, "I'm going to ask you." He goes, "Because that's your thing." I said, "Exactly." So realizing that we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we can come together and work together to get something done, that's a good thing. Now, I'm sure the trolls that do these talking, I would love to see their projects and how they did everything by themselves and got those things squared away, because of course they're experts at everything. And I still patiently wait for those videos of all those experts that tell me how I should be doing it and those type of things. So I just think it's funny. I'm like, whatever. Solar is expensive. Young AR-15, he says, solar expensive but worth it. It's absolutely worth it. So I want to go back. Um, Yeah, trolls add to your analytics. Of course they do. They're helping me do what I do. They're helping finance what I do. So thank you, trolls, for watching. And you know, whatever. They're gonna still always have their comments, but I don't have to leave their comments up, and so I get rid of them because it's like I'm not gonna have hateful things on the channel. I'm just not gonna do it. So, and I don't feel like, and I know that a lot of my subscribers, if somebody's negative, they'll jump on their butts and they'll hammer them, and I appreciate that. But I don't want you to do that because that only feeds into that negativity that they're trying to do. They're trying to stir the pot, trying to cause negativity. So as soon as I see that negative comment or that negative nastiness, and there's a big difference between constructive criticism and negativeness, okay? If somebody says, "Ed, have you thought about doing it this way? This might be better." I'm absolutely going to think about that. But if I have somebody to come in and tell me that you're an idiot for this, that, and the other reason, what does that do? We the people. I like solar, which is great, but over time it puts less and less power. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, solar panels will degrade over time, but even after a 30-year period of time, you're going to lose about 1% a year, is what you're going to lose on a solar panel. So even after 30 years, you're still getting 70% efficiency from those panels. Solar is definitely the way to go. Uh, it's getting cheaper and cheaper all the time, which is great, and so that's a good thing. Now, with solar, and this is experience, guys, okay? If you are going to do solar, do an off grid system. Do an off grid system. Do not be grid tied. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you how you can get around with doing an off grid system when, they may say, well, if you're going to have a solar system, you have to be grid tied. Some places are like that, but here's how you get around. I'll talk about how you do it, how you get around it. So, my advice to anybody, if you're going to start to do solar and you want to do solar, uh, you know, start small, but start efficiently. Don't do things cheap. Go ahead and get the proper components to start with. And when I say start small, maybe you have a work shed that you're using and you wire that up so that is totally independent of its own volition, and you have that from your small starting solar system that you're starting. As you expand your system, now maybe you run some lines into your house and you cut one room where you take that off the grid, and now that one room is part of that solar system. You can do that and basically slowly reduce your consumption of power that you're getting from the system and having your own individual thing. So you're still hooked up to the system, so you're in compliance with whatever laws that you have, but at the same time, you're producing your own power. So when that emergency situation happens with a power outage, a grid down situation, whatever the case may be, for whatever extended period of time, you have a backup system that you can flip that switch or whatever you need to do, and you're going to still have power. That would be my advice. Don't go grid tied, because if you do a grid tied system, they still own you. And I will tell you how they still own you several ways. If you have a grid tied system, and I have a neighbor across the valley who has 200, well, no, I'm sorry, he has 56 250-watt solar panels. He spent $70,000 on his solar system, 10-year return. He's grid tied, and so once a year he gets a check from the company. I think he said he gets about $6,800 a year from that company. So I think it's about a 10.5-year return before he gets his full investment back. He gets all the power, right? Great. But every month he gets the line charge. He gets, the taxes. So he's getting a bill every month for, I think it was only about $43 a month, but you're still getting that charge. If you're an independent system, you don't get any charge. Okay. The other thing is, if the grid goes down and you are a grid tied system, your system is also down. You're not getting any power unless you have a backup battery bank and you have a transfer switch that now you can switch the power going into your own battery system and not into the grid. The reason that they do that is because when the linemen are out working on the lines, if you have power being fed into the system, these guys can get killed. So that's why they do it that way. But they still own you. And they do not encourage you to have a backup battery system, and they do not encourage you to have a transfer switch. I'm putting that out there as well. Okay. To me, I like being independent. I have the Prepper Nurse One Power Company. I am the sole owner of said company. Nobody owns me. I have my own power. I don't have to worry about relying on them. And when the grid goes down for whatever reason, a car accident and a transformer gets knocked out, or a windstorm and the lines are down, my power still works because my lines are all underground, and they go, everything is underground. So there's no lines hanging up there to get knocked down. So I just, just putting that out there. So, all right. Well, we're been an hour and 4 minutes, so we're at 9:03. So what we're going to do, we're going to do some shout outs for some other channels right now. I want to get back to, and I'm going to tell you what, live streams moving forward. Obviously, I'm going to have a topic. I've been gone all weekend and a few days before that, so I really haven't been in the loop to really do the research to do a topic. And I'm not going to come in here, guys, and try to do a half aid type of stream. So I definitely wanted to talk about groups and talk, like I said, talk about the solar system, which is great, and those type of things. So anyway, let's do some shout outs. Obviously, my boy up in Canada, Icky Can, love him. He's awesome. So definitely show him some support. And Bizariza Jizza is another friend of mine, and JJ just put his link up. He just brought his new episode of the Carrington Chronicles came out today. He does that on Sundays, so definitely check that out as well. And good series, a lot of good information, very realistic, and I think that that's important as well. Also, Angry Prepper down in New York City, awesome guy. Jason is amazing, very very cool. Then you were going to have Pinball Preparedness, of course. He's a good dude as well. Marfugal News with Adam and Dax, they're awesome as well. Definitely go to all these channels. Tell them Prepper Nurse One sent you if you haven't been there before, and that's why you're there. We have Alaskan Prepper, another absolutely outstanding human being, putting out a lot of good information, and I think these are good people. Alaskan Granny. You have Canadian Prepper as well. Also, you have Wrangle Star out on the West Coast as well, and he's a good dude as well. And you have Sean James has his channel up in Canada. He has two of them. He has Sean James, and he also has My Self Reliance. Really good, very cool to watch him build. Unbelievable builder, and what he does is just really, really cool. Doug and Stacy, they have a great channel. Bushcraft Bear over in La Palma with the Canary Islands, giving you basically updates right from the scene, right where things are going on. And so that's a good thing as well. So he's a good dude as well, and I love him. I think he's very humble, very very nice human being. JJ just put up the Needy Homesteader, great channel. Jacob Israel, yes, you know what? I actually had talked to him in the past. He's also down in New York City, guys, and really really cool dude. I haven't talked to him in a long long time, but yes, Jacob Israel has a good channel as well. Corporal's Corner, there is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Suspicious Observer, Gray Man Prepping, Bear Bush. Hold on a second. Bush Radical, Girl in the Woods. Those they're a married couple. They each have their own channel. Awesome, awesome people. A lot of great information with them as well. You have Suspicious Observer, Southern Prepper One. I think I already said him, and but there's a lot of great information out there. And if Green Greg's is another channel as well, and I'm just trying to think who else. Ah, but anyway, Adapt 2030. Yep, another channel. There's a lot of good information out there. We should be sharing information. We should be supporting each other's channels, and I think that that is important as well. So I'm going to always encourage you guys to do that, and it's good to support each other. So, but uh, Wild Nesting PN1. What's your daughter's Etsy site name? JJ, would you throw up Heather's link for her Etsy account, please? So those of you that don't know, Heather makes jewelry. She has decided to do that. She enjoys doing that, and so that is what she's doing. So please show her some support if you would like to. Order some bracelets for gifts for Christmas. Christmas is coming up, so that's not a bad thing. Magic Prepper out in North Dakota, really really good guy as well. Definitely like him as well. Survival Lily, very very good. Is Survival Lily the one that's dealing with health issues right now? I think that might be her. She's from Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and she's definitely dealing with some health issues. But definitely some good information with her channel as well. But anyway, so there's a tremendous. Shannon Barrett says I bought 2 items from Heather at. Oh, very cool, Sharon. Thank you very much. I think that that's awesome. Thank you. But Austria, no, that's not. That is German. Austria's part. Yeah. Okay. She's in Austria. Austria is just like being German anyway, folks. Just so you know. But anyway, so like I said, Wild Woman's Bushcraft is that okay? There's yep. But there's a lot of great channels out there. There's a lot of women that are doing really cool things and sharing a lot of very good information as well. Okay, so but it's just we should be supporting each other, and I always think it's important to raise each other up and be supportive. There's a lot of good information being put out there, and with having a diversified look at what people are doing, I think that that's a really cool thing. So I will encourage you all to go check out those channels that we just all talked about, and go from there. And I probably forgot some. I always do, and I do apologize if I. Well, ADK Man, who is also in the chat, he has a channel as well. He's up in the Adirondacks, so definitely go show him some support with his channel as well. We also have. Oh God, who else? Well, I'm going blank at the moment, so I apologize if I. Oh, St. Bernard Acres with Joe. He has his channel as well. Bushcraft Bear talks about the volcano in La Palma and gives us all the info he gets on it. Why so harsh? Who's somebody's being harsh about Bushcraft Bear? Well, they shouldn't be. He's a decent guy. Oh, Mary Greeley. Yes. Yep. Yep. And she's a lot of information about what's going on. North Shore Preparedness. Thank you, ADK man. I absolutely forgot about her, and she's one of my or he's one of my moderators. So yes, North Shore Preparedness is another channel. So I apologize for getting that. And but anyway, so like I said, a lot of good information. We should be supporting each other, and I think that that's important. So another thing I do want to talk about again is like with with if you want to try to put that group together, if you want to try to live off grid, definitely do your research. Definitely be prepared. I think that that's hugely important. Okay, uh, there is there is a lot of people out there. People are looking for help, and if and I think that that's part of what we need to do. We need to be supportive of each other. We need to try to help each other. I'm going to tell you what. When I got going with my solar system, and I got first started, I had a huge support system. Um, oh my God, I'm trying to think of his name. I don't even know if he's doing his channel anymore. I am completely blank. But anyway, I had a fellow YouTuber that he had a solar system that he was using. He contacted me. He said, Ed, I've been using this system for 3 years. We live off grid. He goes, copy my system. He goes, other people have copied my system. And I said, okay. And if you go back, and I still do need to do playlists. It's another thing I need to take care of that I still haven't done. But he really guided me a lot with getting my system started before, like before I started upgrading and stuff like that. But really learn from people that have done it. Learn from people that are living off grid because they know what they're talking. Bill and Rosa, yes, thank you, Frederick Nolan. Yes, Bill and Rosa, one of the most humble human beings that I've ever talked to. Wonderful, wonderful guy. Ed Wildwoman Bushcraft is the one with the health issues. Okay, thank you, Deep Bay Holmes. I knew it was one of them, and I remember watching and listening to her, and she was talking about her health issues, and I couldn't remember. And it's just because you're checking different stuff out, and but yeah. So, but anyway, um, yeah, Bill and Rose are awesome, awesome people. They had the Rebel Rat. The Rebel Rat has now passed away. Uh, you know, but he really just a very humble dude and will help anybody. And he was a truck driver. I don't know if he's retired by this point. He might be now. I know he was getting closer to retirement. And but they just he said, yeah, here's my information, let me help you. And I think that that's awesome, and that is why I will always want to be in a position where if anybody wants to ask me about my solar system and what I did and how I did it, absolutely, I'm going to share that information as well because I think it's important. That's how we learn. And the more people that we can get that are working together, that are supporting each other and helping each other out, it's going to make that next person's transition from being on grid to going off grid, and maybe in a living at their bug out retreat. It's going to make it easier. I have had my struggles. Absolutely, I've had my struggles, and with what we've done here, it didn't happen overnight. It took time. So if I can help somebody not make the same mistakes that I made, and that's why I will always tell you guys, don't go cheap, because I've done it. I've gone cheap, and what you end up doing is you spending good money after bad, because you're going to upgrade that system when you realize it's not as efficient. It doesn't work as well as you had hoped it would work. So, you know, Ed, are you going to have your electrician build your system in your video? When it is being built. What we're going to do, John, and actually I've spoken with him, and this is the game plan. All right. So when I am ready to set up my system in West Virginia, he is actually going to come down there. He's going to walk me through it. I'm going to do all the work, but he's going to walk me through it. And I think that that's important. Again, I'm a hands-on type of person, so the more that I just do, it's going to put me in a better position to know the ins and outs even more of my system. And so that's what we're going to do when it comes to that time. So that way, it's going to be done right, and done to code, if you will. Not that there's really a code that you have, but you want to make sure your stuff is safe. And so we're going to do it absolutely the right way, and he will be there to walk me through as I do it. And I think that again, I think that that's important. And again, that's the best way to learn, is getting in there, getting your hands dirty, and again, and then it puts me in a better position to be able to help other people down the road, because I can say, okay, I've done this and this is how you do it. So but by the end of next season, my camp will be turning to water power with solar backup. Independent Marine 3522. That's awesome, dude. That is absolutely awesome. And you know what? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You would be surprised how many people are actually working on going off grid, living more remotely, getting away from the grind, and and that's an awesome thing. And the more people that we can help out with doing that, I think is a great thing as well. And and that's why, with what I'm going to be doing in West Virginia, we're going to start again. I'm starting from scratch. So I'm going to take the knowledge that I've learned from here. I'm going to take that with me to West Virginia, and I have a way better game plan in place with what I want to do down there. So, like I said, you take and you learn from your mistakes, and you don't repeat them. And I think that that's important. So, really quickly, because we are definitely running out of time, and we're definitely going to go over. Um, let's do We Are Legion. We are Legion because we are many. We're all over the country. We're a huge family. And Ed, is there any use for me to ask about your solar installation? I know I can't put it up myself. If you can't put it up yourself, that's fine. You can still get the knowledge, morning light, from it, so that when somebody does it for you, or if you hire somebody to do it, they're not going to screw you, because you're going to know how much things cost, and those type of things. Knowledge is power, my dear. Knowledge is definitely power. Okay. So anyway, where don't forget to build your big window for the kiddies in West Virginia. Oh yeah, absolutely. So anyway, where's everybody from tonight? So we'll do that right now. We have Anderson, South Carolina, Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Heblo, Colorado, Navajo Nation in Arizona, Connecticut, Nowhere, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Cape Cod, uh, Littletown, New Hampshire, Central Iowa, Louisiana, Ontario, Canada, Austin, Texas, Beech Grove, Indiana, Fillmore in Illinois, I believe it was. If I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. Adirondacks, Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. We have Union City, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Southwest Ontario, Canada. We have Hot Springs, North Carolina, Kearney, Nebraska, Vancouver in Canada, Ulster Park, New York, Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, Inverness, Florida, Ohio, St. Augustine, Florida. We have Big Country, Texas, North Central West Virginia, Florida, Bangor, Maine, Indiana, Mount Dora, Florida, Waterloo, New York, North Wellington County, Ontario. Let's see, New Mexico, North Highlands of California, Yervlad, Texas. I probably said that wrong, and I apologize. Southwest Florida, Gatlin, Pennsylvania, Austin, Texas, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, the UP, Missouri and the Ozarks, Valley Mills, Texas, Central Pennsylvania, Northeast Texas, the wilds of Pennsylvania, California, Kent in the United Kingdom. Hey, Peter, welcome. Glad you're here. Thanks for staying up with us. Steeler Nation for JJ. That's about Pittsburgh area, I would imagine. West Jupiter, Florida, East Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's see, Memphis. So again, guys, we are all over the world. We're all over the country. We're a huge family. We're a huge network of people. We are truly the ones that can make a difference now, and we can make a difference after an SHTF event. And I think it's important that we try to do that if we can. All right. So anyway, I'm going to thank my moderators who are absolutely awesome, who do a fantastic job. Um, Thank you guys for doing what you do, ladies and gentlemen, to keep the chat clean. I appreciate you. You're all awesome. And thank you for being here steadily and working on things for me. It makes a big, big difference. So, also, um, I want to thank all you guys for being here. You're the reason I'm on here, and I enjoy being on here. So, I appreciate all of you as well. The other thing, again, remember, guys, okay? Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I am tired, so I do apologize. Stop letting them divide us. We are one race called the human race. And as soon as we can focus on that, we are going to get along so much better. We can agree to disagree. None of us are going to agree on every topic. We all have our different thought process, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they were continuously trying to divide us over race, religion, political affiliation, the vaxxed and the unvaxxed. Stop letting them do that, because they win when they do that. When they distract you and you're paying attention over here, you're not paying attention to the real problems. If we come together as a human race, as which we are, we can accomplish anything that we want to accomplish. And that's really, really important. Also, remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day, tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important that we tell the people that we care about every day how we feel. Last but not least, STD, step, thing, and date. And we're getting closer. We're about 3,100 subscribers away from that tattoo for me. So when I hit 100,000 subscribers, I will have STD tattooed on me. I think I'm doing it on my chest. I believe. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I will definitely have it on my body. Step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you were trying to do in life doesn't have to be about prepping, doesn't have to be about living off grid. It's setting a goal and then making it happen. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only person that can stop you from reaching your goal is you. That's it. Nobody else. So, you know, stay focused, keep doing what you're doing. Don't listen to negative people that want to bring you down. So what do you have? We're 490. We got to have five more before we jump off here to hit 500 thumbs up, guys. Now we're four away. Four more thumbs up. Let's get it up over 500 before we jump off. But anyway, guys, stay positive. Keep prepping. Continue to get ready. We have no idea how much time we have, and so we need to continue to be smart. Okay. See, we jammed right through it. We're at 5:05 now. That's awesome. You guys are the best. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I do appreciate it. I will see you all later. Stay positive. Stay away from the negativity, and I'll see you tomorrow. And Ed, what's your opinion on how hard this winter will be? It's going to be, my personal opinion is I believe it's going to be a tough winter. I think it's going to be a very, very tough winter. With fuel costs going the way that they've gone for heating oil, for propane, and everything else, I think it's going to be financially devastating for a lot of people. That is absolutely my opinion on that. It's not going to be a fun winter. And then if we have severe weather, which they are predicting, and if we have a very cold winter, which they are predicting, it's not going to be pleasant. So anyway, I will see you all later. Have a great night, everyone. Prepper Nurse One out for now.